this is Russ. Guess where I'm headed? Yeah, this is the third time in 1 week we're headed on Bussy Woods. Yeah, I kind of like going here. The reason I decided to go again is because today's weather is really nice. Maybe 68 degrees right now, something like that. And you know that my ideal temperature is 70 degrees to ride. So I said, well, it's going to be in the 70, 72, 73 range, something like that, for pretty much most of this morning. So I figured I'd take a ride out to Bussy Woods and spend some time out here. Here's an interesting thing. I recently rotated my tires. Yeah, you know, what's our mileage? 1,422 miles right now. And so I decided, well, the rear tire is getting more and more bald. It's not bald, but it's wearing down. You know, those little nubs that you have on these like mountain bike type tires or whatever kind of tires they want to call these things, they're wearing down. So the rear tire was getting more of that than the front. I mean, the front you steer, but the rear takes a lot of the beating because the motor's back there. There's a lot of weight on the rear tire, starting on it and everything. So I said, if I don't change the tires, then the life of that rear tire is going to be gone relatively quickly. Now, I have heard others say that they've only gotten 800, 900 miles out of their tires, and then they had to change out the original tires that came with their bike. And I'm already at 1,400 something miles, and I'm not that worn out yet. But it's probably because I don't ride gravel, I don't ride rocks, I ride paved paths, and that's probably the main reason. But they are wearing, and I debated for a while whether I wanted to do it or not, because taking the rear tire off, the rear wheel off, is not an easy task. It's not hard, but it's time consuming, and you know, if you've never done it before, you have that little bit of hesitancy. But I knew sooner or later I would have to do it because I'm going to have to change tires out anyways, so I figured I might as well learn to do it. And so I did it. So here's how I did it. I'll show you some photos here. I took the bike apart, but I didn't do it in the garage. You know how hot it gets in that garage sometimes? I've seen the thing over 95 degrees. And I said, I'm not doing it out in the garage because I knew it was going to take me well over an hour to do this whole thing. Take 2 tires off, switch them around, put them back on. So I brought it into the family room, but I put a tarp down to keep everything clean. So what you see here, the blue tarp, is really just a painter's tarp. And I flipped the bike over, and I have these things called the handlebar jack. You should get one of those if you have an e-bike or any bike, but especially e-bikes, because we have like displays, and I have a Bluetooth speaker, and I have my cell phone, all that stuff mounted on there. Well, if you flip your bike over on your handlebar, it's going to crush all that stuff. So you don't want to do that. And the handlebar jack essentially raises your handlebars because it clips onto your handlebars and then gives you a little bit of height. So flipped it over, took the front tire off. That was pretty easy to do. I've done it before. And then I tackled the rear tire. Rear tire is another story. You need an 18 millimeter wrench. Now I carry all this stuff in the panniers on my bike and on the rear. So I took the 18 millimeter wrench, undid the nuts that were holding up both sides. I also watched the Rad Power Bikes video on how to change a tire. Right, that was the most important thing. They have this little, I don't know if it's a washer or some type of thing that kind of keeps things in place. took that part off of it too, and then you have to move the derailleur, kind of bend it back a little bit, get the chain off of the bike, and take the bike wheel off. I was able to do it, and then you got to deflate the tires, which I did, and then I put some tire levers on to help take the tire rim, undo the bead that is part of the tire. Took the tires off, put the new tires, flipped them around, put them back on. Made sure that the inner tube wasn't pinched. You know, that's how I blew out the inner tube the first time. Had a pinch flat and it exploded on me. So yeah, you got to do it once and let it explode and learn, right? So here's what I did. I filled up the inner tube a little bit so that it's nice and soft, but you know, it's not like flat. And then I put it in there and then filled up a little bit more air, and then I bounced the tire around just to make sure that the inner tube was not pinched anywhere. Okay. Then I filled it up to about 10 pounds of pressure. Then I mounted it onto the bike. All right. And then I filled in another 10 pounds of pressure, totaling 20 pounds per square inch. All right. Now putting on the rear tire was a little tougher. Again, having to deal with the derailleur and the chain and everything, but I did get it in there, locked it back into place, and did the exact same thing with the pumping up of the tires. And having that electric pump, portable electric pump, really makes a big difference, because you can dial in exactly what pounds of pressure you want, and it's going to give you exactly that. All right, and then it'll shut the machine off too when it hits that. So yeah, perfect. So this ride here at Bussy is the first ride with the switched tires. So technically speaking, the rear tire now has more nubs. The front tire does not. Okay, so how does it feel? I feel less sure in my turning. Yeah, who would have thought, right? And so I know this. Once the tires are down, you've got to change the tires. You can't run this to bald. Because if you do, you're not going to be sure-footed. Sure-footed? Sure-tired? Yeah, I actually feel like I'm bouncing around a little bit more because my front tire isn't able to grip as well or something. And I don't feel like I have as sure of a turning or maneuvering. So yeah, that's not good. Now we do know that the front is not going to wear as fast as the rear. So the rear eventually will catch up to the front in terms of wear out of the nub. Is that what they call them? Little nubs? And yeah, I'll have to make a decision when the time will be. My hope is to get 2,000 miles out of this before I have to change it. I don't know whether we'll hit that. It may actually happen beforehand. So again, I started looking at tires again and asking other people on the forums, what tire they recommended. And they said, since you're really not doing gravel roads and things, you need a street tire. And many times they have mentioned the one that I'm looking at, which is the Originate Supercells. Now, here's an interesting thing with this company, Originate. If you read it exactly as it is, they use the number 8 in there. You might want to call it Origin 8. But think about it. There's no space between the origin and the 8. Put it together, it's Originate. They're trying to be fancy about it, right? So, yeah. Originate Supercells. Another guy who actually has it on his bike, he has a Rad Rover, he says he's at about 2,500 miles, and he says he could barely tell that there's any wear at all. So that's what we want. All right, so those tires will be roughly around $75 each, plus tax. No shipping, Amazon. So maybe within a week or so, I may actually place an order for the tires and just let them sit. I think the worst thing, again, is when I really need it and then they don't have any in stock. So I think if I order up and just let it sit, it'll be fine. I mean, if we're at 1,400 something miles and we're hoping for 2,600 miles will go by relatively quickly. All right, so this is a good fishing area. There's people on their bikes just sitting around, taking it easy. There's a guy getting ready to fish. I know you guys can't see it, it's off to the sides. I'm going relatively slow this time. I'm not going really fast or anything, just wanting to enjoy being out here. Here's another thing. Another guy asked, he says, why did you buy a Rad Rover if you don't travel on gravel and, other types of paths? Unpaved paths is what he's saying. Why would you buy something like a Rad Rover? So I told him, I says, well, I'm a big guy. And I kind of like the big bikes and I kind of like the fat tires because it actually matches me better than riding a small mini bike with small tires with the big guy on it. So he said, okay. So he understood that. Yeah, I understand his question too. A lot of people buy these Rad Rovers because they want to go off-roading. And I'm not doing that. But I will say that these larger tires on the bigger bike with the shock front forks, it's more cushiony. When you hit bumps and things, it just floats a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know how I would do with a smaller bike. I know that the bigger bike suits me, so I'm okay with it. So 69-pound bike, I told you guys, add in some weight for the racks, add in some weight for all the stuff I carry in the pannier bag, add in the 14-pound battery I just bought, add in the 11-pound chain and lock, and a whole bunch of other junk that I carry along with me. I'm estimating roughly about 109, 110 pounds is what this bike weighs now. I am starting, like I said before, I am starting to carry the chain in the front bag in my basket. Not that I need it, I just want to get used to it because maybe one day I will need to have that with me and I won't be used to the fact of the extra weight in the front, so I just need to get used to riding with it. And then after a while you'll just start carrying it along with you. Of course that eats into your battery because it's more weight. But that's okay, gotta get used to it. Alright. Got about 2 more minutes and then I gotta change out our camera here. Yeah, whenever I say I'm changing out my camera, you guys know that I'm just shutting it down, turning it back on. Because if I don't, the camera will automatically shut itself down. Oh, here's a kayaker. I don't know if you guys can see him. Let me angle a little bit here. You guys see him? Yeah, he's kayaking here. Let's stop here. I gotta make this change anyways. This is the area that fishing Jim and I fished at before, but again, no luck, right? And then on this side you have more water. Again, I can't really turn 100% because it's still mounted to my body here. Alright, let me change it out. Alright, I'm back. So, yeah, Bussy Woods is a nice ride. I have to say that. It's nice and long. It's got variety. We've got water, and you guys know I like being around water. Yeah, I've got to rig up something for my fishing rod. I don't know if I'll actually really do it, but I kind of feel like I should. You know, lock up my bike, keep it next to me, of course, fish a little bit, catch and release, of course. Can't carry a fish all the way back. Where am I going to stick that thing? Stick it in the front bag? No, I don't think so. Catch and release only. Look at all these geese. Can you guys see that? I'm going to angle down a little bit. There's geese all over the place. Those things make a mess. Alright, let's go left. Again, this is the path that Fishing Jim and I go. Haven't heard from Fishing Jim in a while. I sent them a couple of texts to Jim and Gail, who fishes with us. Gail answers, but I haven't heard anything from Jim at all. So I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, so here's where we usually fish. Let me angle to the left here. That's where we usually fish. Only caught one sucker out of there. I said we're a bunch of suckers for coming out here and never catching anything. So I thought I'd come back out one more time, take it easy, spend a little time out here because it's not going to be hot today. Now, I told you guys that I was going to use my small battery first and then use the large battery. But here's what I decided I'm going to do for Bussy Woods. I'm just going to use the large battery. Because we kind of know that this battery can do roughly 49 miles if I pedal and do throttle 50-50. That's more than enough to get me here, ride me around twice, and ride back. So, and if I do run out of power, I've got another 26 miles on the rad battery, and that's more than enough to get home. So, as far as charging is concerned, I'd only be charging one battery. If I do it the other way, where I exhaust the small battery and then start going into the big battery, then I'm charging two batteries by the time I get home. So, I think on the long run, I'd just rather have it plugged in once. So I think I'll just use the big battery. Now, if I'm going places I don't know where it is I'm heading to and I don't know what the actual mileage is, then I think the smartest thing to do is to do it the other way around. Exhaust the small battery first and then use the big battery. Okay, but maybe not for Bussy Woods. Bussy Woods now is essentially a known thing for us. We know how big it is. We know how many miles we need. So it's not like you're going someplace you don't know. Yeah, at this point, it's not. We know it well enough now, I think. So yeah, one battery is enough. And I had mentioned before to some friends that if the rad battery were ever to die, I think I'd get another Chinese battery. Stick one in the frame, in the triangle frame. Stick one in the back. You'd have 98 miles of range if you did that. Alright, let's go this way. Here's another popular fishing area. Let's see here. Nobody's to the left. Some people fishing to the right off the bridge. See these guys here? Nobody's down in there. Morning. Here's the problem with fishing off the bridge. To get the fish back, you have to lift that fish out of the water and bring it all the way up to the bridge. And with the fish moving around, there's a good chance the fish could unhook itself, and then you're going to lose the fish. Now, when I was out in California, here's how they would do it, because they're fishing off the piers and stuff, and they're way up there on the top too. They actually have a net that they connect to a rope, and then they just haul it up. So it's something that they all do, because there's no way that they can get down there. So they need to adapt that for over here. Anyways, just wanted to bring you guys out today. Enjoying a nice, cool day. Hey, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. More adventures coming soon. And we will be visiting other areas. I have another place I'd like to go. Not sure whether I can go there this week. It's something that I would have to do on a Saturday or a Sunday morning again, because we have to hit some major roads, and I'm trying to avoid those large roads, of course. So not sure if I can do it this Sunday. I'm going to try. If not, it'll probably be the following week. So stay tuned. There's more good stuff coming. Different areas. Talk to you guys next time.